Good journey, everyone. Welcome to Space Oats Live, a Star Wars podcast. I am the Crucial Crew member, and we are going to talk about Skeleton Crew episode 3 in a moment. But again, yeah, welcome to Space Oats Live, Star Wars podcast. I do this every week, or at least I try to do this every week, Wednesdays, 10 o'clock p.m. Eastern Standard Time. If you're new to watching this, please subscribe to this channel. Hit those notifications so you know when I go live. I also do a segment called Not Long Ago in This Galaxy, which I either live stream from this YouTube channel, usually while I'm on my way to work, or I usually post something on my Instagram account, which is the Crucial Crew member over there. So follow me over there. I do a lot of Disney posts as well, as I'm in the Disney parks a lot, and just other Star Wars posts. So yeah, so it's an exciting week. Skeleton Crew episode 3 hit Disney Plus last night. I have watched it uh, just once. I'm actually watching it right now for the second time. But a lot in this episode that was just so much fun. It's a really cool series so far. If you haven't watched it, I will tell you what I'm gonna get into the spoiler part of this. But if you don't really care about certain spoilers, I'm not going to go into like every little minute of it. But if you don't want to get spoiled of anything and you want to watch it fresh, you're probably not going to want to watch this all the way through. But we'll get to Skeleton Crew in a moment. We are going to first talk about again my segment on that I do every day, at least by posting on Instagram or by going live most of the time, is a little segment called Not Long Ago in This Galaxy, which I incorporate in Space So It's Live on Wednesdays, since I don't do that segment in the afternoon. So what happened in Star Wars history today? I actually could not really confirm this one, so I don't really know, but this one was on StarWars.com. So, but sometimes the dates on StarWars.com are incorrect for some of the things. I don't know why. Maybe they should hire me and to do the Today in Star Wars post on StarWars.com app. But sometimes they are incorrect, at least what I researched sometimes. But I couldn't find anything to verify this one. It's really not that big anyway, but it does incorporate why I'm wearing an Empire Strikes Back shirt today, and also an Empire Strikes Back hat. So full on Empire Strikes Back. Big fan. It's usually goes back and forth between 1 and 2 is my favorite Star Wars movies of all time. But today, December 11th, 1980, so it says online, was the date that The Empire Strikes Back opened for the first time in Holland. Yeah, so that's why I kind of just threw out there that that Dutch poster that I had on this channel's page today. So I think this is it. Yeah, this is it. The Dutch poster that you would have maybe seen for that second installment of Star Wars. I gotta always flip this. I wish there was like a way to default this so that I had this on here. Um, Also, I want to switch my other camera too, real quick, get a little cleaner of a view. Might take a second. There we go. Yeah, so The Empire Strikes Back in Holland, released today in 1980. I might adjust my camera just a tad bit in a moment because I'm a little bit off. Let me do that. Yeah, there we go. That's a little bit better. Um, so yeah, like I said, I couldn't really confirm this, but almost at the end of the year, it's so funny how like that. I always say when back in the day when Star Wars movies were released, it sometimes took a long time to get to different countries, different languages, things like that. Where now it's almost simultaneous around the world. Um, you know, uh, Hate to think what it would be like, going into a movie and kind of having those spoilers already out there with Empire Strikes Back. With some big spoilers that was with that. So that is your Not Long Ago in This Galaxy segment for today. Not much to talk about that one. I did watch Empire Strikes Back today. It did get me to do that, so did that this morning. Um, One of my favorite movies of all time, obviously of the Star Wars franchise. Speaking of kind of Empire Strikes Back and the movie, Mosh Eisley, if you're not familiar with Mosh Eisley, is kind of themed Empire Strikes Back this year, I think, because it's Mosh Strikes Back here in Orlando, Florida, in February, in conjunction with MegaCon. So if you're going to be here for MegaCon, I think there's still tickets left for Mosh Eisley. Some really good friends of mine put that on, and it's a lot of fun. Star Wars cosplay, Star Wars um, fans, friends, just uniting together. And if you're a fan of emo music, emo music, it's great sing along fun with that as well. So it's just kind of like a mashup of all that, and that's why we call it Mosh Isley. So so much fun. Can't wait for that. That'll be my third one. So um, yeah, so that is your not long ago in this galaxy segment. I do have a costume this year that I'm trying to get together for my first mosh, costuming it up. So kind of going to do it for MegaCon as well. But yeah, that's going to be my mosh costume also. I think, I don't know. Maybe I don't want to wear it all day. Maybe not. I don't know. We'll see. But anyway, Mosh Isley, February, Empire Strikes Back released today, 1980, for the first time in Holland. So that is your not long ago in this galaxy. We are going to flip over to a little bit of Star Wars Celebration news. Celebration happening in Japan in April. The Crucial Crew member will be there. First time in Japan. Can't wait for that. Oh my gosh, it's going to be so much fun. But anyway, Diego Luna, it has been announced, is set to join all of us there in Star Wars Celebration Japan next year, April 2025. That is pretty on par with a lot of the other actors that have been announced for Celebration Japan, all being tied into Andor season 2, which will be released hot off the tails of Celebration, just days later on April 22nd. So, which really makes me think that we're going to be able to see the first episode of Andor season 2 in Japan, which would be so much fun to be able to see that. And so yeah, a lot of other talented special guests headed to Makuhari Messe next year. Can't wait for that. Can't That's going to kick off a really good fun trip for me for Japan, because that's where how I'm starting my trip, and then just doing a lot of other stuff, Disney and some traditional Japanese sites, which I just can't wait for. So that is a great addition. Diego Luna, can't wait to see him in Japan next year. So lots of fun. If you're going, hope to see you there. Yeah, come and say hi if you do. So that is pretty much it besides Skeleton Crew, which is what really, we really got to just talk about Skeleton Crew. Skeleton Crew, again, episode 3, uh, coming out last night, entitled Very Interesting as an Astrogation Problem. So we all know so far that these kids are lost from their planet At-Aten, which nobody actually believes exists. They have thought it's a myth. They kind of informed the children of that in the second episode last week, kind of confusing them that nobody understands where their home is, which they consider to be just kind of like a boring place in the galaxy, right? Why doesn't anybody know about this place? But to everybody else, it is something special, something of where they will find eternal treasure. So it's kind of like a myth, one of those long forgotten places. That we don't really know much about. Until this week, we learn a little bit more about this planet At-Aten. Or at least we think we know a little bit more about At-Aten. But it starts off with the going back to the planet of At-Aten with the parents. The parents kind of getting together and trying to figure out, where the children went. Have they left the planet? And looking for information from the security droids. Security droids just kind of give them nothing as far as an answer. That they're not going to go searching outside the planet. And they seek an audience with the supervisor. Now, this is one question that's kind of yet to be answered, and kind of like one of those mysteries of Skeleton Crew so far. I don't know if it's going to be answered very quickly, or if this is one of those things that's going to be held to the end. A lot of the mysteries and questions that we thought were going to maybe last till the end have really been answered quickly in Skeleton Crew. So, what's the overall mystery? We're kind of not really sure yet. Just still kind of what is this planet At-Aten, and also, everything kind of based around that is more so kind of been the mystery, the full on mystery that hasn't really been answered. I mean, Jod as well gets a little bit mysterious this week. Obviously, in the first episode, in the beginning, he was kind of he was introduced as Captain Silvo, and then we find out that Jod is Captain Silvo, which really was answered very quickly this week. That that is the same person. But then there's a little bit more mystery to his character that was brought this week, which brings in some fun Easter eggs as well, which we'll get to. But the supervisor. Who is the supervisor? I think that's going to be a question. Maybe I don't know if we'll get an answer to next week or not. It just seems like some of these things you think that it's just going to be very easy to get these answers to, or they're just giving us these answers very easy and very quickly, which just seems a little bit mysterious, also in a way. Is there a bigger picture that we're just not seeing yet? But So then we go back to the port, um, and we see them escaping the prison. Obviously, we know they got the key at the end of last week's episode. So we see them actually escaping out of the prison. We see a couple more instances where Jod uses the Force. The kids are still kind of not trusting in him, and we even kind of get that joke about KB, having the Force because she kind of senses that this droid is coming. That may have had something to do with her cybernetics and, being able to sense other droids in the area, because she kind of gives him that look, and so does Jod as well. Just kind of that anybody can have the Force. Just kind of a joke as far as that goes. But excuse me. So they get to the ship. It seems like when they're on their way to the ship, Jod might actually recognize the ship, which is kind of interesting. Um, his just like seeing it, and is that it? Um, Almost in a way like it's familiar to him, like he knows the ship, which is kind of interesting. So maybe there is a little bit history with Jod and that ship. Don't know. Maybe he knows the captain. Maybe something curious with that might come up in the future. I don't know if anybody else got that or not, but I was feeling that a little bit. And then they send him back to go get SM-33. Well, they kind of want to go back to get SM-33, and of course he says it's too dangerous. But of course they go back to, well, you're a Jedi. A Jedi can do anything. And he agrees to go back to get SM-33. He goes back and finds this like maintenance bay area for droids. Funny little Easter egg there where we get to see a B1 battle droid, which is always fun to see. Just kind of sitting there on the table, and when he switches them on, the B1 battle droid basically asks, "Did we win?" Which is a lot of fun. I guess that hasn't been activated since since the end of the Clone Wars. So that was a fun little nod to the prequel trilogy. It's always good to see B1 battle droids show up here and there, and yeah, so that was a fun little moment that I thought of, that was in there. So hope everybody else enjoyed that as well. So yeah, so he Jod actually has already introduced himself to the kids, as they kind of don't trust him. So he figures, if I give them my name, maybe they'll trust me. So he gives his name, Jod Norwood. Obviously, we know for sure that he's Captain Silvo because he runs into his old crew in the droid maintenance bay, and that pirate addresses him as Captain. And we also know that once they realize they escape, they're saying Captain Silvo has escaped. So we know that these two are the same. And then we also find out when they go to this observatory moon to seek help from someone else that is familiar to Jod in the past, that he is also known as Crimson Jack, which is a very familiar name to some of us as well. I immediately was blown away when I was watching this last night. I said it very loudly, in shock, in disbelief, in question. Crimson Jack? Like, really? And immediately my wife made me pause it because she didn't understand the reference. But any of us that were crew or passengers on Halcyon for sure know who Crimson Jack is. And being the overall storyline of the Halcyon Legacy comic series, which basically backstories on the Halcyon, gives us a lot of past, present, and past and present of the Halcyon, in its history and glory, and in its current situation right before the 275th anniversary voyage, which people got to take part of, and take passage of, when it was, in that voyage. So Crimson Jack, is he really Crimson Jack? Or because this takes place about, I think we're 30, almost 30 years, before the Halcyon, voyage, where Crimson Jack, comes aboard the Halcyon. So would Ja be, is this the same? I don't think it's the same person. I don't think it's the same person. I mean, depending on how old he is here, is he really a Jedi? He could be the same person, but I just don't think. I think there's some other ties. One fun theory that I know that a lot of fans have already thrown out there and have responded to some of my posts from yesterday is it's kind of like a Dread Pirate Roberts thing, from A Princess Bride, where basically the name just carries on, but it's different people. I would like to see that. I think that would be a fun little connection, that actually maybe they knew each other. Maybe it's his, maybe Ja is the predecessor of the next Crimson Jack, at some point. So maybe we'll get to meet the other one in a younger form. Maybe it's one of these kids. Who knows? That becomes a pirate and ends up being Crimson Jack. I don't think so, because the only one that really would fit that is Wim, and he doesn't really look like he's going to turn out to be a, red-headed, red-bearded, pirate, unless he, colors his hair. But I just think it was a really fun connection. I think a lot of other people felt that connection, and it just really does go to show that, there is some love. There is some love for the Halcyon. So it was super fun to be able to see that and hear that in this story. Um, so we go to this observatory. This observatory is basically supposed to maybe provide them answers to where in the galaxy is this home of Aten, or this, planet that has been lost and full of eternal treasure, whichever one we want to believe, in this case or another. I think it's kind of nothing, neither. I think there's a different mystery here altogether with the planet of Ad-Aden, and we've kind of come to see that there is something about this planet that is different, according to the history, when we get to meet this new character, um, that is, kind of going to provide some clues to get them back home, and, is apparently this kind of non-trusting ally to Jod, that he knows from his past. Um, but when they get there, they realize that there's no map to Ad-Aden among all of these, uh, documents and star charts in this observatory. The observatory, by the way, is run by this amazing new creature that we have here. You can see her or them right here, by the name of, and I think I'm pronouncing this right. I just watched it again to remember it, and I think I almost lost it already. But I believe it's Kh'ymm. Kh'ymm is kind of like a flying, uh, fox, bat, cat, owl creature. Just all sorts of combinations of those four creatures all put together. Very adorable, and also, um, not trusting of Crimson Jack, Captain Silvo, Nawood, whoever you want to call him. She calls him as Crimson Jack, and he's not to be trusted. So um, she's trying to help the kids out. She thinks that he's kidnapped the kids, and she contacts someone, and we don't know who she's contacted. Um, but we get to see that very quickly. But as they're looking through the observatory, she believes that she can chart Ad-Aden. She knows the name Ad-Aden. Good journey, my friend. And we learn a lot of history, but don't learn a lot of history of this planet. But it seems like that this planet has a very ancient history, which goes to connect to last week when the kids throw down the Old Republic credits and they're shiny and new, and the pirates are confused with the Old Republic credits. Um, we kind of learn from this week with a little bit more of the mystery behind Adadin, that it's kind of from fairy tales, from children's stories. It's something of old, that connects to, um, children's stories, pirate shanties, just all sorts of myths and legends that has just been lost, the true story. So not everybody really knows, but it was actually a, um, part of, I think it was, and I forgot to write it down, but I believe it was like six total planets, and Adadim was the only one that wasn't destroyed. So this is the first time we're ever hearing planetary destruction besides what the Death Star had accomplished. This is predating, um, anything from the or the Old Republic, even predating probably the High Republic. Um, well, so the Old Republic before the High Republic, but predating the all of that. Um, maybe like tens of thousands of years in the past that this planet possibly has been lost. Um, Obviously, from some of the stories that the kids, or what they know about in the galaxy, is going to kind of justify, how much they know, and they, is, because I've heard some rumors that, it can't be too old because they know about the Jedi and the Sith, and like them fighting, because he's playing with the action figures. He also has stories on his data pad that have Jedi stories, none of which connect to any of the stories that we know. But where did this information come from? Was this selective information that was filtered in from the galaxy? Because they also know about Coruscant. They also know about Alderaan. They don't know that Alderaan was destroyed. So there's things that are omitted from the kids' schooling and history, but there is something getting filtered in. So I still think that this planet could have been kind of quarantined off from the galaxy and hidden from the galaxy, but maybe this supervisor does have a connection to the outside part of the world and the galaxy, because we don't know who this supervisor is, and they're bringing in information that is pertinent to the great work that they are performing, because we heard about the great work that was kind of tied into the High Republic. We know that the High Republic was involved with, um, kind of bringing the galaxy together as a whole. And there was this, I mean, they're the ones that kind of really kind of jump started the HoloNet, the connecting of worlds throughout the galaxy. Um, Starlight Beacon was supposed to be kind of like a beacon to the outside, to wild space, to the outer rim, to bring people together. But then that was destroyed. What were these six worlds a part of, and why and how were they destroyed, all except for Ad-Aden? That is a big mystery that still gets to be kind of explored throughout the series, which is kind of interesting. And some of the ways that they have to chart their hyperspace routes back home, according to, Kh'ymm, is by information. What do they know? What do they know about the other part of the galaxies? What is their planet like? What's this barrier like? She starts getting all this information from the children, and calculating where they could be from, which is kind of an interesting way to kind of navigate and narrow down worlds within the galaxy. Um, One of the things that she does notice is a symbol on Fern's jacket, which she, um, says that they are Palmarish numerals, um, on the Proto Republic artifacts. So, a lot in that statement, Palmarish, we don't know what Palmarish is. Is Palmara another world? Was it one of the lost worlds? that was kind of like Ad-Aden, that maybe they do know where that one was, which could be a significance to where in the galaxy Ad-Aden is. Um, or maybe one of the lost worlds was somewhere known to be close to a planet called Palmora, which we don't honestly know anything about this word Palmarish. Also, the Proto Republic artifacts, again, kind of gives the date that is before the Republic. But is it before the Old Republic, the New Republic? What are they talking about there? I'm thinking they're talking about before the Old Republic, predating the Old Republic, which so that means they're very old symbols. I mean, using the term artifacts kind of really relays that it is something of history. This is something ancient in the galaxy, which is cool that we're going and expanding something from way, 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 way back. Which again, how long is this ship that the kids have been on the planet of Ad-Aden? That could tell us, how old that ship is, and it'll be interesting to see how all of this really ties together. Um, so all of it kind of could mean that Ad-Aden could have been something of significance some 25,000 years before the events that we have right now in Skeleton Crew. And that's a long time. That's going to be some ancient Star Wars history that we're tying into that we've never tied into before, which is going to be a lot of fun to be able to dive into that. And I hope really that that's the case. I hope we're going to really get into some really ancient Star Wars history, getting some more knowledge that we've, just expanding our Star Wars storytelling. I think that's going to be fantastic if it is. So Kh'ymm had notified somebody. Kind of Jod kind of realizes this. They show up. Jod basically starts to go crazy, and we got to get out of here. Starts shooting at Kh'ymm. Starts shooting all the evidence. And as the kind of like the star map is calculating, and as soon as it calculates, Jod basically destroys all of the calculations that were made on her systems, so that nobody can recreate and follow them where they're going. Did it get them to the right arrival point? We don't know. We'll find out. But they take the star map. They get back to the ship. We see the Rangers of the New Republic arriving, which is really cool. And that was kind of in the official language on StarWars.com, that it is the Rangers of the New Republic. So we kind of get an idea of maybe what Rangers of the New Republic was going to be like, which I was really hoping for a little nod here, connected to the other stories. I was hoping maybe, we'd see Zeb in the cockpit of one of these X-Wings. Would have been a fun nod. Who knows? We still might get that if the Rangers show up some other place. But not this time. Not this time. So they arrive to answer Kh'ymm's call. The children kind of have to make this split decision. Are they going to trust Kh'ymm, that she's saying that Crimson Jack is not trustworthy, that they shouldn't go with him, they should stay with the Rangers coming, or do they trust Jod, who basically helped them escape the pirates? So they kind of go with Jod. He has the star map. He might be able to help them get home. So, but they do stop him short from getting on the ship and basically let him have it. This is not your ship. This is our journey. We're not doing this with you. You're doing this with us. So we're in charge. And KB is kind of the one that steps up, which is really cool to see KB kind of show her brass and make sure he knows where they all stand, that they are not partners and that he works for them. So really cool to be able to see that. We get to see Neil and KB at the helm of the ship, which is that part in the trailer which we see where Jod just tells Neil to take the take the reins, and everybody's all confused because Neil doesn't know how to fly, and Wim's like, Neil, really, you're gonna let him fly? So that was that part in that trailer that's shown in this episode. Jod then takes Fern and Wim back. He gets them into the gunner turrets, and the foursome work with Jod to make that jump to light speed toward Kh'ymm's coordinates, and we will get to find out where that leads next week. So where is that hyperspace going to jump going to take the crew? Is going to be the real question. So we are 3 episodes in of this 8-episode series. My calculations, with all of the mysteries behind Ad-Aden, I almost feel that yes, we are going to land in Ad-Aden. It almost seems too simple, um, but I don't know if we are going to get all of our answers unless we I don't know, unless we just don't have to have the kids get back to Ad-Aden, and maybe that's part of their journey within the galaxy. But I don't know. I have this feeling that either they have to get back to the planet, right? But I think that in order to get all the answers about what the planet is, we have to get back there with some time left. The only thing I would think of is if we do have to take one more step somewhere else in the galaxy, how are they going to figure it out? Because I think this was like their best shot, unless it's somebody else that knows Ad-Aden. Um, but I think getting to this character of Kh'ymm this week, um, we have to make it. We have to be there, right? Um, Next week. So that's what I'm guessing. Um, I love this picture, by the way. I forgot to put this up there earlier, but yeah, I just feel that next week we're gonna get there. We're gonna get back to Ad-Aden. Maybe they get there and they have to leave. Um, I don't know, because how are the pirates going to catch? Just feel that the pirates are going to have to get into this mix. How are they going to catch up to them? There's just going to be there's a lot of loose ties of how this story is going to connect back together and get them either home to Ad-Aden, or we get to learn a little bit more about the history of Ad-Aden. Maybe Ad-Aden decides to be known to the galaxy. Maybe the parents devise a plan to do that, to send a signal, and then maybe Ad-Aden becomes known. And a lot of people show up in the end. Um, who knows? Who knows what happens? But we're gonna find out next week. But I do. My gut tells me that we're going back to Adana. My gut tells me that the coordinates are right, and we're gonna get to some journey there. Maybe they have to escape in the end. Maybe they get there. We're there for a few episodes. Maybe the last couple of episodes is them figuring out that Ad-Aden is not the place that they want to be, and them and their families escaping. Maybe that's how this all ends. Um, so I guess we're gonna find out again who the supervisor is. That's going to be the other big question answered. Are we going to see that? Get that answer to that question next week? Or is that gonna? I mean, I think we do. I think we get the question answered of that one as well. Um, yeah, I think that's kind of how it's going to go. At least in my mind, that's how it's going to go. As far as getting back to Ad-Aden, realizing that Ad-Aden is not a safe place for them, that they're kind of living a lie, and then escaping from Ad-Aden in the end, after we find out what this place actually is. So, if you haven't watched it yet, it's been a good time. Been a blast. I'm loving the series. It's so much fun. It is a great, truly great adventure series. Um, it even is even giving me these like Indiana Jones vibes. Goonies, Stranger Things, all these series that are just so great that I love, and just kind of tying them together with Star Wars, which is fantastic. But so much fun, and I hope everybody is enjoying it. I hope these characters live on to another day. Again, who's Jod? We don't really know. Crimson Jack, Jar Jar Norwood, Captain Silvo. who knows? Maybe he's all three. Maybe he's just a master of disguise, and we'll learn a little bit more about him as well. So I do believe he is a Force user, though. I don't think he was ever a Jedi. He kind of maybe, I don't know. Maybe he was trained a little bit by a Jedi master, but I don't think he ever became a Jedi. So, but but that is it for me tonight. I hope everybody is having a great night and having a great week. Um, Again, if you don't follow me on this channel, please follow me. Subscribe, hit those like buttons. That way, other people can possibly join in for these amazing Star Wars discussions. And yeah, yeah, it's okay. Better late than never, right? But yeah. So subscribe to this channel. Also, join me for not long ago in this galaxy, which I do on this channel. Try to go every day as well, except for my days off, and or I post on Instagram. My Instagram page is at the Crucial Crew Member as well. And yeah, have a great night, everyone. Until next time, remember, do something Star Wars, watch some Star Wars, listen to some Star Wars, read some Star Wars, play some Star Wars, do something Star Wars today. Most importantly, remember, may the stars light your way. Have a great evening, and I'll see you next time.